It's the one-of-a-kind financial show daily for Friday, August 14th, 2026. I'm Mike Milligan, certified financial planner. It's 45 days until I turn 50 years old. Nobody's counting but me. But I just thought I'd let you know at the top of the show, we have a big Friday in store for you today. I want to celebrate a milestone for our firm, One Oak Financial. I want to walk you through what we learned this week in the markets. I want to hit you with the highlights of the Retirement Deja Vu webinar I hosted on Thursday night for over 200 people, and close with what America was searching for yesterday. Educate, coach, plan, never miss a moment. Let's go.
Be one of a kind with Mike's plan.
I want to lead with this. Inc. magazine published the 2026 Inc. 5000 list this week. America's fastest growing private companies, and One Oak Financial made the list. I want you to hear what that means because it's not really about me. When I founded One Oak Financial, we said out loud that everyone is one of a kind and that they deserve a one-of-a-kind financial plan, that the plan should fit the life, not the other way around. We said we would serve middle Americans looking for a partner, and a team of more than 20 professionals across the United States, including Hawaii, has taken that mission and run with it. The Inc. 5000 recognizes revenue growth, but what actually drives that growth is client trust. Every household that let us stress test their plan, every advisor who joined the One Oak Collective, every listener who texted the word ideas to 600, 700, you are what this ranking actually represents. Thank you. Now, back to work.
Be one of a kind with Mike's plan.
Thursday closed strong. The S&P rose 0.66% to a new record close of 77.99. The Nasdaq gained 0.81% to 26,803. The Dow added 0.13% to 53,833. The catalyst, a soft July producer price index, which reinforced the same story CPI told us on Wednesday. Wholesale prices are moderating alongside consumer prices. So what do we learn this week? Monday through Thursday, 4 things. Number 1, inflation is easing on both sides. CPI at 3.4%, PPI cooler than expected. Good direction, but it's still above the Fed's 2% target. Number 2, the Fed rate hike fear that dominated June and July has quietly become a Fed hold debate. Fed watch odds of a September hike set near 41%. That's down from 50% the day before the CPI tape ran. 3, the fiscal reality is bigger than monetary policy. The July budget deficit came in at $432 billion, the largest monthly deficit since March of 2021, and the fiscal year-to-date deficit is nearly $1.8 trillion. That is the number that shapes tax planning for the next decade, and we spent yesterday's show on exactly that. And number 4, global inflation is not contained. Japan's July producer prices printed at 7.2%, and their central bank is warning of upside risk from oil. Signal literacy is what we do here. We're not chasing returns as much as building the one-of-a-kind financial plan. We take all this into consideration when we work with you.
Be one of a kind with Mike's plan.
Last night I hosted the Retirement Deja Vu webinar. The book released July 31st, but I presented 31 slides. And if you missed it, here are the highlights I want you carrying into the weekend. First, the problem statement. Different advisor, same pie chart, same generic advice. Every advisor sounds different for 5 minutes, then hands you the same plan. That is retirement deja vu. And it is why we said out loud in this firm, the plan should fit the life, not the other way around. Second, I told the story of one of the first clients I remember who experienced retirement deja vu. It's the story of Don. Don retired in 1999 with $1 million in CDs and $1 million in investments. He was doing everything right by the standards of the day. He was told by his professional advisors in the firm that I worked for to take 4% from his portfolio, a safe withdrawal rate, and expect to get 8 to 9% return on the market. Then the dot-com bubble hit, 9/11. Enron failed in November of 2001. Then rates dropped. And after just 120,000 dollars in withdrawals from 99 until the end of 2001, his portfolio was down to $675,000. Don did not fail. The rules failed Don. And that is the whole reason we exist at the One of a Kind Financial Show Daily. Third, the thing I talked about next was the 4% rule. On the Ideas by Mike podcast, episode 33, I sat down with Bill Bengen, the man who created the 4% rule, and today's research is landing it closer to 4.7 to 5.5%. See, old rules break in new times, and I discussed that in that webinar. Fourth, I discussed the 6 big risks that everybody faced in retirement. You could write these down. You can pause now, go get a pen, come back and get these. Those 6 risks: mortality, liquidity, market, taxes, inflation, longevity. Every retirement plan has to answer all 6, not 1, not 3, all 6. And fifth, retirement is more than money. Ask 3 questions. What will your life look like? What will your time be used for? What will give retirement meaning? That leads into my patented retirement chief philosophy, community health impact, which when you define those and build a vision, gives you peace in retirement. Who are your people? Health is the new wealth. And where does passion and wisdom collide? That is the impact. That is return of investment, not just return on investment. And then I went on to talk about the Home Depot effect of a lot and a home, an architect, a builder, and a subcontractor. See, a financial plan is the most important document you'll ever have in your life, is the blueprint that lists all the products you need to live your one-of-a-kind life. And then seventh, I walked through the one-of-a-kind financial plan, the 5 pillars: taxes, retirement income, investment, long-term care, and legacy. They're integrated, not isolated. Most one-size-fits-all firms isolate them, tell you to work with a CPA, work with an attorney. Not us, not me, not in building the one-of-a-kind financial plan. And then I talked about income, and I quoted Tom Hagna. You do not live on assets. You live on income. And there's 4 tiers of income, from guaranteed to end of life. The income you need, the income you want, the deferred income to keep pace with inflation, and the legacy income. That is how you build a paycheck you cannot outlive. None of what I just described is a recommendation for a product or a strategy for you specifically. It's a framework. It's how to escape retirement deja vu. It's how to answer the question, why is money important to you? How to build a vision for your retirement, and then a financial plan that serves your life, your one-of-a-kind life.
Be one of a kind with Mike's plan.
Quick look at yesterday's Google Trends. Yesterday was mostly sports and life. Are we already talking about NFL preseason? The Philadelphia Phillies versus the Minnesota Twins, Major League Baseball scores, Steelers, Raiders, Cardinals, Kyle Schwarber. And on the news side, Delta Airlines cancellations out of Atlanta were pretty big yesterday, and Taylor Farms jalapeno salmonella recall. Whoa, guys. You know what I did not see trending yesterday on Google? Inflation, PPI, Fed policy. The record close of the S&P 500, which tells you exactly what most Americans are focused on and reminds you why this show exists, to translate the boring number into the plan that changes your life. I had some water today. I didn't get all my steps in. I worked out this morning, yesterday morning. I worked out Orange Theory Fitness's Inferno workout. Look that one up. What rhythm was created in that. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to do the same thing. And that's it, guys. That's the show for Friday, August 14th, and concludes another week of the One of a Kind Financial Show Daily. If you want to reach me, I dare you, pick up your phone. In the phone number line, put the number 600-700, 600-700, and in the message, put the word ideas. Send that off. and let's connect. And if you want to call the office to get connected with me, call the office directly at 757-909-7151. We celebrated a milestone today on the show. We learned 4 things about the week. We hit the highlights of the Retirement Deja Vu webinar, and we reminded ourselves that the market's biggest headline is rarely America's biggest search. Live the plan, guys, not the panic. This is Mike Milligan. Have a great weekend. Educate, coach, plan's my mission. Never miss a moment. The content of the One of a Kind Financial Show Daily is intended for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing shared on the show constitutes investment, tax, legal, or accounting advice, and nothing shared should be construed as a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any security, insurance product, annuity, or strategy, or to execute any transaction. Individual results will vary. I am a certified financial planning professional and the founder of One Oak Financial. www.1oakfinancial. Any reference to specific companies, securities, indexes, economic data, tax concepts, withdrawal rates, or policy scenarios are made for educational context and are not solicitations or predictions. Third-party rankings such as the EAT 5000 are not indicative of any individual client's experience or investment outcomes and are based on company revenue growth and are not a guarantee of future performance. Consult a qualified financial, tax, and legal professional before making any decision. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Again, to reach our firm, One Oak Financial, it's www.oneoakfinancial.com. That's the number oneoakfinancial.com. And just as a reminder, the One of a Kind Financial Show weekend radio show will be live on oneoakradio.com, the number oneoakradio.com. Go listen to this week's episode where Gary and I share 6 important segments, including answering questions from the listeners of that show. Have a great weekend. One tidbit, one highlight from the show this weekend is there's 3 huge pop events that are anniversaries on August 15th, August 16th. Listen to the show and find out. We'll see you next week.